Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Nitin Gupta, who is the founder of Sappers Media, which is a full stack ad tech platform offering a 360-degree digital marketing. Hi, Nitin. Welcome to ELI.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Nitin, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a bit about your pre-entrepreneurial journey, like where you born and brought up, where did you study, which all companies did you work for before starting your entrepreneurial journey, and what were some of the events in your life that tells us that you it was entrepreneurship that you were headed throughout your life.
Hello everyone. I am Nitin Gupta. I'm the founder and CEO of Zappage Media. So, Zappage is a full stack advertisement technology company. So, basically, what we do, if I talk about the layman term, so you see advertisements across websites, mobile applications, and OEM devices. So, we are India's one of the biggest company who provide the technology to the brands and advertisers to run those advertisements. So, we work as a technology company into the advertisement space, majorly into the digital advertisement space. So when we say that we cover, full stack or 360-degree solutions, so that means we cover end-to-end digital marketing solutions. So you might have seen our advertisements on the websites like Times of India or be it any bigger portal. You might have seen our advertisements on mobile applications. All the leading mobile applications from India and the world work with us. So right now we work with around 75,000 plus publishers that covers your mobile applications and websites. We work a lot with the OEM partners. When I talk about OEM, they are the original equipment manufacturers, the company who produces the smartphones. So companies like Xiaomi, Samsung, Vivo, Oppo, Transsion, all of these are our vendors and we run the advertisements over there.
Mhm.
So that's about the business model that we do. We also do a lot on the connected TV space. Right, more and more people are now using smart TV instead of the traditional cable. Right, so we work a lot with the publishers into that particular space, and we run our advertisements on the connected TV devices as well. Right, so that's about what we do as a company. How it started up. So to be very honest, when you talk about the entrepreneurship world, you might have seen that most of the entrepreneurs, they rather, landed just out of their school or colleges. So I had a similar journey, to be very honest with you. So I came from a very, very humble family, and we can say that from a lower middle income class background. So my father was not keeping well since I was in like sixth or seventh grade. So at that point of time, I understood the value of money, to be very honest, because, he was hospitalized for almost half a year, give or take. Right. So most of the savings that we have or the earnings that we had was going to the hospitals and everything. So I understood the value of money. And since I was in ninth or 10th grade, I started making money of my own. I started doing, some small time work. I used to do a lot of tuitions, coachings and everything and start making money, at least to support myself. So I don't have to ask for money for my personal thing from my parents.
Mhm.
So that's how it all started. So throughout my engineering, I did my BTech in information technology from Indraprastha University. So throughout the 4 year of the college, I had like the minimum possible attendance in the college, to be honest, because I was juggling between coaching and everything and making money. And during that time, the internet was pretty new. So I'm talking about way back in 2002, 2004, right? So
Mhm.
at that point of time, the internet was a new thing. And, all of us were getting the desktops and the internet connection at home. And at that time, we used to have dial-up, not even a good internet connection. So
Mhm.
that's when I started learning, the basics of web design, web development. So not the HTML thing, but more towards the server side of things, like the PHP as a language. So I started working, I started working as a freelancer in 2002 for the clients in US, UK, Western Europe majorly. Started building the web applications. So I was not working on the website as standard ones. I was more behind the curtain guy, how the website actually works, the CMS and everything. So I learned that myself, started doing that. And by God grace, by the time, I was getting out of the college, I was doing pretty decent. I was making around 35,000 rupees per month. And in 2004, that was actually the salary of an untrained person into the IT world. So if
Right.
I, complete my education, I go for a job in Infosys or TCS, I was getting a package of around 2.5 lakh rupees a year or something like that. But, just working freelance, I was making more than that. So I had a group of my friends who are my childhood friends. So we know each other since I was in nursery, uh, living in the same area, studying in the same school and all. So I told them about the idea. Yeah, let's build our own. Let's start. I know the skill. I'll teach you the skill. Let's start working on this particular segment and make a small company out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2004, when we started up, entrepreneurship was not even a word, to be honest, in India especially, because not many entrepreneurs were there.
Right.
There was no term like startup at that point of time. It
Right.
was like, let's build a business from scratch. And none of us had any prior experience into the professional world. So we have never worked in a company, let alone by building a one, right? But the idea was clean. Okay, let's do this. We'll be able to do that. Let's start that.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple of us, we started working online, we started getting the projects and everything. It took off. So earlier, my family was not willing to let me go that way because, like, salary is like a standard good thing for a middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, regular income that you get. But I said, okay, give me 1 year. If I'm not able to, succeed in 1 year, then I'll, cut down from there. I'll go back to whatever you want me to do. But I know that was one very important year of my life. So we worked very hard during that period. And within the first year, we were like 6 guys when we started up. Within the first year, we were able to scale the team to 20. Everyone was getting salary on a monthly basis. My family was pretty happy as well. And like, so talk about garage startup. So ours was like, what you call a temporary room startup. So
Mm-hmm.
in my house, so there was a vacant room at the terrace, right? So we used that room as our starter. That's what we built. We had a team of 20 plus. And then we took our first formal office in 2000, early 2006.
Okay.
From there, the thing started growing till 2008, 2009. We had a team of around 200 people at that point of time. And we were doing pretty good with the software development and all that stuff. But during that time, the recession happened. And it was pretty bad for us, to be honest, because most of the clients, what we saw that they started spending the money on, mobile applications or software developments or anything. They were just waiting the recession to pass before investing more into the technology.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a team of 200 plus people, and there's not enough margins in like, body sourcing business. So we were sustaining as much as we can, but then another, we wanted to pivot from there. So the idea of advertisement technology came to us that while people are not spending right now on technology, they are still spending money on advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, let's do that, right? So we had the team, so I started that again. We built our own software, our own technology for advertisement survey and everything, and we were the first company in India to build that back then. Everyone was using these technologies from some other company. We built our own technology, and that picked up over the next couple of years. By the end of 2009, so Zap Ads was doing more than like, they were hardly, we were like 4 or 5 guys. They were doing more revenues than a team of 200 plus of software development.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the pivot actually happened. So that was one of the most difficult period of our life because on one hand we have a team of 200 people who are, generating revenue for you, and there's another team of just 5 or 6 people who are making equivalent revenue for you and a higher margins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when, like, pivoted. We stopped working on that software development part. We moved to Zap and started building the technology from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we are a team of 200 plus again. We are spread across 7 countries, 8 countries rather, with 11 offices globally. So the biggest one, we have like 4 offices in India. The headquarters is in Noida. From there, we have offices in Singapore, in Dubai, in Jakarta, in Southeast Asia. Then we have one in Russia, Moscow. So Russia is one of the biggest market for us right now. Then we have offices in London, we have offices in New York. We have team on ground across these offices, and that's how we are growing up right now.
Mm-hmm.
In our segment, we are actually India's second biggest company at this particular time.
Got it. Wow, that's a such an interesting journey. Tell us a bit about about the problem statement that you are catering to right now. So I did some research around the ad tech space, and the way I
Mhm,
understand is there are some players at the buy side who buy media,
mhm,
uh,
mhm.
and there are some at the sell side who sell media.
Exactly,
And
exactly,
there are some at the middle who do kind of bidding and all. So which
exactly.
category do you fall into? And
So,
tell us a bit about the space and where
sure,
exactly
sure.
you kind of add value.
So, yeah, so I'll tell you what happens in the digital advertisements right now. So there's a buy side, which you call the DSP, the demand side, which works with the clients. The clients can be advertisers like, your Unilever or Maruti or Mercedes or Byju's, Dreamhaven, be it anyone, right? And then there's a sales side who work with the publishers. Publishers can be your websites or mobile applications, say MX Player or ShareChat or Daily Hunt or Times of India, right? So what happens is on the sales side, the SSPs, they aggregate all the publishers, which we call inventory, and the demand side, the DSPs, they aggregate all the demand, right? And then they work, they make a collection in between, right? And these guys, the supply guys, sell the traffic, demand guys buy the traffic, buy the ad impressions, basically, right?
Mm,
So this is how the industry works generally. What we did was, first of all, we were the first company to build our own programmatic technology. What we call programmatic is like, we do a thing called real-time bidding.
mhm.
So you might have seen auctions happening, right? People, bid on the
Right.
artifacts or, the pictures or something like that, right? And the highest bidder won that particular, got a chance to buy that particular artifact, right? So we built a similar technology for the ad impressions.
Mm,
So how we work is we built our own DMP, which is called a data management platform. Right now, we reach out to 1.7 billion people globally. So basically, around 16% of the world population. We have the data sets around them about their likes, about their dislikes, about their behaviors, interests, demography, and all that. So
mm,
what we do, we use that data. On the basis of that data, we tell the advertisers, okay, there is a particular user who, as per our data, is a male between this age group, works in same media segment, makes X amount of money, have a credit card, generally watches BFSI segment of websites, generally shops on Amazon. So like say it's a long list of data sets that we do.
mm,
And on the basis of that, we give the information to advertisers. Everything happens anonymously. Everything happens via your device IDs and everything, but no one knows actually what's happening. So on the basis of that, they show the ads to you. So nowadays you see more of a targeted ads, right? So if
mm.
you
Yeah.
go to random websites, you see more of the targeted ads for your likings, right? So that's where the technology comes from. So we built the technology end to end. And I'm very honored to tell you that we are the only company that have built a complete stack of technology. So we are not only the demand side, we are not only the supply side, we are not only the data side, right? We have built everything on our own. We have our own AI technology as well.
Mhm.
So we control the end-to-end funnel. So I work as like, demand and supply everything. So this is what we call a SPO or a supply path optimization. What we want our advertisers that we are the one-stop shop for all your digital advertisement needs. You don't have to go anywhere.
Mhm.
Like we offer all the different services to you. We offer all the different set of publishers to you, and we are the shortest link between you and the publishers. Because the more number of people in the chain, the more the price. So, if the publisher X is selling the traffic at 100 rupees, there's another one in between. They buy, they keep their 20% margin. Then there's another one who keep 20% margin. So
Mm,
ultimately, the client is paying 200 rupees and 100 rupees are being taken care by the middleman only. So
mm,
what we do, we remove all the middlemen from the picture. We connect the advertisers directly with the publishers. We give them our data intelligence. We give them the AI technology solutions so they are able to run highly performing campaigns throughout our platform.
mm. Speaking of AI, can you tell us what sort of AI algorithms are in place? How do they help in this whole operations?
So in AI, we work on a thing called predictive algorithm. So when you build the data, right? So data is something that is huge. We have zillions of terabytes of data right now with us. Because, if we are reaching out to 1.7 billion people globally, they keep on, going to internet on the random websites, on the mobile applications daily, keep on generating huge amount of data, right? So it
Mm,
becomes very difficult to keep a track of the data. So our AI works in two parts. On the first part, whenever, a particular user is going through different set of websites or mobile application, we build the data and AI is able to make the information out of that data.
mhm,
That like you might be going to say Flipkart, right? But our AI is able to figure out that you are just going over there by mistake, or just to shop, or actually to buy,
mm,
right? So that's like one filtration of data that helps us in getting the information. Secondly, what we do is once we have the data sets, right? So say like there's a campaign for Amazon.
mhm,
Amazon works with us right now, and Amazon wants to promote their particular products, a set of products. So what we can do is like, we can figure out the users, or AI can figure out the users who are actually interested into e-commerce, who are a regular e-commerce shopper, but don't actively use Amazon.
mhm,
So they might be using some other e-commerce platform, right? So our AI is able to figure that out. And on the basis of that, instead of exposing the ad creative to like, hundreds and thousands of the users, we only expose the creative to those set of people who are interested into e-commerce, who are actually buying from some other platform, not using Amazon. So that helps us in getting a higher conversion rate.
yeah,
So all of that is done via our AI technology.
got it. Also curious to understand how do you acquire both buyers and sellers of advertisements? How do
So
you
we
partner
have
with
a team on ground. So yeah, so we have a team on ground. So right now we have a team of around 50 plus salespeople who are spread across the multiple offices. So we have a team on ground who keep on meeting the clients, the agencies, the brands directly, getting us the required demand. We have our own self-serve platform as well, which is called a SaaS-based model, but for the advertisement technology. And from there, we get the clients as well via Google Ads and everything. But majority of the revenue and the business comes to us directly. Being one of the leader in our segment, clients reach out to us directly, agencies reach out to us directly to run their ad campaigns. So that's how the sales cycle works. On the publisher front, again, like being one of the leaders in the industry, majorly the publishers reach out to us directly. But again, we have a team of around 30, 35 odd guys who actually reach out to those publishers or the websites, mobile applications, and onboard them to our platform.
Hmm. So, like you mentioned, Zappets operates in probably 20 plus countries.
Hmm.
And every country has their own cultural, regulatory, and market differences.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
for example, Europe has GDPR, and that affects
exactly.
how you
Exactly.
show advertisements. So, how do you
True.
navigate through these diverse landscapes, and what are some of the key challenges that you face once in a while?
So, so that is one learning that we had in our career. So when we were starting in India, we were doing pretty good in India, and the idea came, let's spread across different regions. So we started an office in Dubai. We registered in Dubai. We had a particular person in Dubai, and that person was from the Indian background. We sent them to UAE, Dubai, and started to try to basically make a business out of that. But that particular person, being born and brought up in India, right? They have a different cultural values. When they entered the UAE market, they were not able to do anything. So we actually waste more than 1 year over there. And
Mm,
that's when the learning comes that, when you are working into different geographical locations, you need to adhere to their cultural differences. You need to adhere their culture, how they actually work. So that's when we started hiring the locals over there. So if I talk about MENA right now in Middle Eastern markets, while our country head is an Indian, but he is in Dubai from a long time, and all the team under him is actually the locals, the Arabs. Similarly, our team in Singapore and Indonesia are natives over there, so native Singaporeans and native Indonesians. In Russia, we have a second biggest team in Indonesia, in Russia right now. We have a team of around 15, 17 people over there. All of them are the native Russians.
mhm,
For the UK market, we have the born and bought a British person who works there. Similarly for the US market. So how it affects is like, once you are working with a particular local person of that geographic market, they understand the culture and the market better.
Mm-hmm.
right? The way how you talk to the people, to the brands, to the agencies, to the clients, it matters a lot. And that's one learning that we got early when we were expanding. So now we don't say that Zappage is an Indian company when we're working abroad. We say that we are a global company with offices across multiple regions with headquarters in India. So that gives a distinction, right? If I'm going in UK, right, I was in London a couple of weeks back. So I was there for 2 weeks and we did around 35 meetings across the clients and agencies.
Mm-hmm.
In everywhere we were, pitching ourselves that yes, we are a company coming out of India, but we are a multicultural, multilingual, and a global company.
Mm-hmm.
So you will be on a day-to-day basis, you will be working with the local who's present into London and Manchester, right? So that differentiates, that really helps in scaling and expanding to the different markets.
Got it. Uh, Another question that comes to mind is, in fact, most of the advertisement companies, ventures that operate in the advertisement space are concerned about
Mhm.
the rise of data privacy
GDPR.
concerns.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
exactly,
OEMs are blocking advertisements, tracking
exactly,
of
exactly.
data, cookies. So
Yeah,
future is cookieless. So how do you,
exactly.
foresee the future, and how are you as a company
So,
planning to navigate through?
so So we, as I mentioned in the start, we're a technology company. Advertisement comes on top of that, but the core of our business is technology. So when the GDPR came up, right, we were pretty upset about like how the things are changing, but we wanted to be ready. We want to be ahead of the curve. And we were one of the very few companies who were actually the GDPR ready as soon as GDPR was in the market. Right now, we are 100% GDPR compliant. So all the data sets that we build are as per the GDPR policies. So what we understood, like, every country have a different set of privacy policies, data policies, how they want companies like us to operate. The most difficult one is the GDPR. So what we did, we became GDPR compliant end to end. And how that helps us, wherever we are in any particular country, we are compliant as per their laws. Further, we have a set of active legal machinery on payroll who actually keeps on tracking the different changes in the data privacy and the privacy policy activities, and we keep on updating ourselves both technically and legally to be as per the complete compliance. Talking about the cookieless future, so that's one of the interesting part. Like, a lot of businesses are, having a thought about how to work that out. We as a company, we have already worked a lot on that front. And the best part is like, as I mentioned, we work with the OEM partners. We work with the OEMs like Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and all that. And Xiaomi, we are the core agency partner for Xiaomi. So
Mm-hmm.
Xiaomi have only five agency partners throughout the world. We are one of them. And we have the exclusive mandate to run the ad campaigns on Xiaomi devices in India, Southeast Asia, Russia, and CIS regions. They have also launched their smart TVs in US, UK, and the Europe market. They have, and again, the exclusive mandate to run the advertisements in US, UK, and the Europe. Now, how it helps is when you are using a particular mobile phone or anything like, you build a lot of data. While you live on a particular website or mobile application for a small point of time, you spend a lot of time on your mobile phone. That helps in building the data. And when any particular person buys a new mobile phone, they, just keep going through. No one needs the data policies or anything like that on their mobile phone. But with working with the OEMs, they have a leverage that they have access to so much amount of data, and all the users have already given consent to them to use that data. Now, being the core agency partners, that helps us a lot even in the cookieless future.
Got it.
We have also worked out the technology called UEN, that we call the Unique Identification Number. On the basis of that, we are matching the cookies with the mobile device IDs, and we store that as a unique identification number. And on the basis of that, we'll be able to do the targeting even after the cookieless feature.
Hmm. So, you started out with a software company. You were building CMS and all the backend web apps.
Yeah,
Then you pivoted to advertisements.
true.
What about the future? Any big plans for the future? Any new ventures coming up, or
So,
any innovations in the current venture?
so to be honest, like, innovations keep coming on a daily basis, to be honest. In this digital world, you see the changes happening after every couple of months. Something new is coming every couple of months, right?
Right.
So what we want to do as a company, we want to be ahead of the curve.
Mm.
Like, just to give you an example, like, if you talk about the UK market right now, so UK market is way ahead of Indian market or Southeast Asian market at this point of time. So in UK, everyone is talking about carbon neutrality. So when
Mm.
you work as a technology company, you use servers, you have so much amount of laptops, computers, you have a team who keeps coming to the offices, doing the carbon emission and everything. So now, everyone in the UK and the Europe market, all the big brands, agencies, so the brands have a mandate that they want the UK, Europe to be completely carbon neutral by the end of 2030. So all the brands want that, if they're working in Europe, they want their no carbon footprint over the next 6 or 7 years.
Mhm.
Now, when we work as an advertisement or technology partner, they expect the same from us, that we don't generate any carbon on their behalf, right?
Mm.
So now, as a company, we are trying to understand what is our carbon footprint at this point of time. When we're working across multiple countries, multiple offices, how much carbon are we actually generating, right? And how we can offset that. So now we are coming up with this strategy that we are offering across our markets that, okay, we know that Zappage as a company generate X ton of carbon per, say, CPM, like, per thousand ad impressions. Like, so
Mm.
if I am running an advertisement to you,
Mm.
this, and you spend $100,000 with me, this was the actual carbon emission that happened. This was the total amount. And we have tied up with some of the big agencies that are verified by United Nations, who are working towards putting more plants and everything for the carbon neutrality. And what we are doing actively is like, we understand, okay, yes, I generated a carbon worth of say X metric ton in this
Mm.
particular month. I pay those companies to put plants and trees on our behalf, right? So we actually become carbon neutral.
Got it.
Right. So this is one thing like, that going to change the future, to be very honest with you. While everyone talks a lot about the AI and everything, but when you are living in a particular world, you need the world to be good. You need the oxygen. You need no pollution and everything. So how these brands are tackling that, the climate change and carbon neutrality, it's pretty good. And how we can, link that with our technology and advertisement company makes even more sense.
Mm.
Similarly, like, there's a couple of new things coming up in the market. Like there's another thing called, what do you call, attention. So while you see the advertisements on your screen, right, anyone is able to track how much the ad was visible. So say you have the ad was on the top fold, you say that it was 100% visible. If the ad was, a bit at the middle, it was say 50% visible. That's one part that is easily trackable. But now what we are trying to do is we are trying to track attention. That yes,
Mm.
the advertisement was there, but actually the person saw it or not. What was the attention span of a particular person when seeing that particular website they saw the advertisement or not?
Mm.
So that's another big challenge, right? Because while everyone is running the advertisements, everyone is saying that, okay, our ads are so much viewable, but you actually don't know if anyone is seeing those ads or not. And
Correct.
the brands are just wasting their money, right?
Yeah.
So this is one technical aspect that we are currently working on, and that actually helps the brand to understand, okay, these are the ads that are actually working.
Mm.
There are a couple of other AI things that we are trying to do. We are also trying to work on the videos that will be artificially intelligent when running an ad campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You might have seen a couple of ads already there in the market. So what we're trying to do is there'll be one recording of an advertisement with some big brand ambassador. It will run onto the different regional segments, and uh, that particular brand ambassador will speak in that particular local language while the recording happened in say English or Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
But when that ad ran on say Odisha, so it will run on your native language. When the ad ran in Karnataka, it will run on their native language, and the lip movement will be done accordingly.
Mm.
They'll be able to pick up the local slangs, everything are AI based. So this is
Wow.
one another technology that we are trying to build. So the future is like, what a lot depends on AI, especially in our segment, how the things work out, how smart the machine learning works for everyone.
Wow. That sounds cool. So I just have one more question, then we will close the session.
Yeah.
Tell us, all these years of entrepreneurship, like 2 decades long, what did you learn about entrepreneurship? Like, how do you define or what is entrepreneurship? What is the definition of entrepreneurship for you?
That's a difficult one, but to be honest, what I believe in personally, gone are the time of Lala-based companies. There used to be a time when, the founders used to came at noon to the office, stay there for a couple of hours, left, and, the team is working, they're doing the magics for you.
Mm,
It doesn't work that now, right? I know that if I work 14 hours a day, then I can expect my team to work 12 hours a day. Right. This is the hard truth because many entrepreneurs after a few years forget that the whole reason of coming into the entrepreneurship.
mm,
You won't believe, I'm still one of the first guys to enter the office. I'm generally the office timings are flexible. We start anywhere between 10 to 11, but I try to be in office at around 9:30. The offices end at around 7 in the evening, but it's already 8. I'm still here, but I'll be leaving around 9:30, right? So I'm sure that I'm spending a lot of time in the office. I'm hustling a lot, right? Because if I work, then the team will pick up. But if I think I'm just sitting there, no one will work. That's
right.
first point. Secondly, you have to be ahead of the curve. You have to be smart to
Mm,
manage, having a 200% team. Everyone is very smart now. It's very smart. And there are different segments in the company. There's an accounts, there's your sales, there's your business development, there's technology, there's operations, right? There's different sets company within a particular company. You need to know what's happening on the ground.
mm,
You can't just have like a bird view picture, okay, now everything is doing good, while you don't know shit about what's actually happening within your company. Right?
mm,
So what I learned, I never sit in a cabin. I always try that I'm on the shop floor throughout my day. So I have this particular room which is generally used for the meetings and all, but I generally sit outside with my team to understand what's happening on the ground level. I try to keep myself updated with the technology, the shift into the technology, AI, and everything. So while there's a team of technical developers who are actually building the technology, but I understand what's happening, what needs to be built, right? So as an entrepreneur, never think that if you have built a company, if you have had a great start, that's the end of the journey. No, you need to be with your team throughout the day. You have to understand how the business works. Secondly, I I put very hard emphasis on profitability. So we are a bootstrap entity. You have not seen many companies who are bootstrap, who are working from 20 years now, who have like multi-million dollar revenue, who are the second biggest in their segment. Everyone is funded right now. And the entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs nowadays, they just want to raise the money, try to grow fast, and after a year or two, they just end up losing everything. What we're currently seeing the meltdown everywhere, right?
mm,
So when we started up, for us, generating profits was very important. The business has to be sustainable, right? If you don't get the outside money, you should be generating enough cash flows, enough revenues to sustain your operations, to sustain your cost.
mm,
That's one thing that entrepreneurs should understand very quickly. Don't go for artificial money. Don't go for the VC money all the time. Try to build a sustainable business first. If the business is generating the money, the investors will follow you.
mm.
So these are like a couple of key learnings that I've understood the last few years.
Got it. Well, on this note, we will close the session. Thanks for joining us, Nitin, and it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.